excited to be out here, Graeme, as ever. Graeme Kemp is our harvesting director in charge of the harvesting fleet of Tilhill. So a colleague on the board. Well, how many machines have we got these days within the fleet, Graeme?
Currently running 28 teams of machines. By the end of the month, we've put on an additional 4 teams. So,
4?
Yeah, 4 extra teams. We have budgeted for an additional 6, well, not additional 6, but 6 extra altogether. So
by the middle of the year, we should be around 34 teams.
34 teams, harvester forwarder.
And one of the really exciting things that the business has seen has been a major investment from the shareholder in terms of modernising the fleet. And we've now moved to a point where we've got no harvesters older than 5 years, and we're trying to get them...
Harvesters 5 years old, 10,000 hours, forwarders 6-year-old with 12,000 hours.
So that's a real modernisation of the fleet, whereas at one point I think we had one old forwarder that had done 10 years or something.
We were up at 21,000 hours, some of the forwarders here 2 years ago had. So we've got that really back to where we want them to be for efficiency more than anything else. So.
Yeah, and what that gives us is reliability. We're getting less breakdowns. Machines are probably good for 8,000-10,000 hours generally, aren't they?
Yeah, and warranty cover. Some of the manufacturers are covering warranty up to 10,000 hours, and also keeps operators as well. Operators is not sitting on old machines, and we can keep our operators better and look after them.
And behind us, we've got quite an unusual machine for us. In fact, I think the only one we've got, or in this configuration, which is a
Tiger Cat 1165 wheeled harvester, where we have currently got 6 Tiger Cats, but the other 5 are tracked harvesters, but this is only wheeled harvester we've got.
And then in terms of the rest of the fleet, we've got a lot of green machines.
Between the green machines, John Deere's and Ponce's, were probably a split round 50-50 there, and we have some Komatsu machines around 7 Komatsus.
Yeah, and the most recent machines we've been getting coming in are 1270Gs.
John Deere 1270G and John Deere 1510G forwarders.
It's a big investment these days for us in new team, and we were talking about the thick end of £1 million these days to set everything up.
To set a team up and all the tanks and site safe welfare units, you're £1 million to get a team of machines up and running.
And getting more expensive all the time, it feels. So to pay those bills, to allow that to happen, we need the machines to be as productive as possible.
Yeah, we need the production out the machines. We're trying to get, this year we've kind of been challenged to get our production up on every machine up by 3%, so that's a big challenge itself. Perhaps
talk about some of the detail of this site. I mean, this is quite a dry site, it seems to me, but increasingly, we're moving through a period of really upping our skill set in terms of managing site conditions, ground damage and water courses and runoff of water from sites. We have to be really careful these days around
the environment.
And particularly water management. So early on in the process, when we're first assessing these sites for harvesting, we'd be doing a survey to see what the constraints are, or how we're going to need to manage the water, environmental and other environmental and wildlife constraints. So are there birds of prey and things like that?
Yeah, when you get the maps for a site, it's got a site schedule as well, so you've all the constraints there on them, or they should be on there. All the constraints, wildlife, water, is there any main water supplies and things like that. So
drinking water as well for houses locally, perhaps.
Yeah, down in the local village. So I mean, this site, as you say, is fairly dry up on the top here, but as further down the hill you go, it gets very wet.
I'm sure it will have its own particular challenges.
And it's a beautiful day.
Yeah. But that's something that I think's really changed since, we both started a similar sort of time in forestry, but I think it was 18, whereas you're about 12 or something when you started. But back then, we didn't really give an awful lot of consideration to planning the site then. It's fair to say now we have to put an awful lot of work in, even before the machine arrives, to think how we're going to lay things out.
Yeah, it's changed days, it has. I mean, the environmental constraints wasn't there back in the day. Also, the sites were better prepared. There was squads in, putting in ditches in the woods as well, so they were all drained fairly well. Now with all the hassles with the wind blow, Storm Arwen and that came on three years ago, and you've all that old wind blow to tidy up, and the water's just running everywhere.
Yeah. And I was in Argyll yesterday, and we're looking at some of the silt netting we're putting in places within the drains and things like that to manage as cloudy water comes off the site, or stop cloudy water coming off the site, and certainly getting into the watercourse.
Yeah.
So it's a fairly traditional site, relatively straightforward, harvester forwarder, so that we've got the harvester behind us, that's cutting the trees down and presenting the timber on the ground, and then we've got a forwarder, and we'll get some pictures of that over there, but behind us, that's then lifting the material and putting it at roadside, allowing for the lorries to lift.
Pick it up,
How much will the harvester cut in a day here?
And here he'll be cutting around 180, 200 cubic metres per day.
Yeah.
And he's probably 10-hour day.
Yeah. And when we were cutting this in the good old days by chainsaw, you'd have done well in this tree size to probably do 5 cube in a day.
5 or 8 cube maybe in a day.
Well, you worked harder than I did.
Longer day.
Yeah, a longer day. But nonetheless, I mean, it's a radical transformation in terms of productivity, sort of 20-fold. And of course, the good thing is it's much, much safer. We've got a guy in the cab there rather than someone spuddling about.
Somebody out on the ground, trying to reduce the chainsaw operators.
And we'd really have no chainsaw operators except for some very, very tricky trees here.
Just extreme conditions where there's big outside trees close to power lines or something. We're pulling them in, power switched off, and with the chainsaw guys there, or any big edge trees where he's brushing them up for the harvester, taking a log off.
We're really trying to engineer that risk out as much as we possibly can in terms of having people wandering around on the site.
Yeah.
And then in terms of the products we're cutting here, we're cutting
4.9 log, 4 9s, 3 7s and 3 1s, 2.5 pallet wood, and pulp, 3 metre pulp, and any dead stuff goes into 3 metre chipwood for bio.
Yeah, so we're recovering as much as we can. We'll be going down to sort of 6 centimetre in terms of when the top breaks off.
Yeah.
And so what we've described there are sawlogs, and that's going to make product from within a sawmill, and then the tops of the trees we're going to turn into pulpwood that's perhaps going to make paper or carton board, something similar, and then finally we've got fuel wood that will probably be burnt within one of these processes to create energy.
Yeah.
So Graeme, behind us we've got one of our forwarders. It is a
John Deere 1210G forwarder,
so it's
12-ton capacity.
One of the smallest forwarders we've got.
One of the smallest, yeah.
Generally be 15 ton?
15-ton forwarders generally, 1510G John Deere or a Ponce Buffalo.
And have we got a smaller one here because the tree size is small and therefore the output is a bit...
No, it didn't land like that, but no, not necessarily. It was just the one that was closest to the job and finished the job, so we brought him in here. It's quite a short extraction as well. So
so we've got a road just that runs all the way round.
There's a road right round and down the bottom as well.
So how many loads will he do in a day?
Probably 10, 12 loads per day.
So he won't quite keep up with the harvester then?
No.
Yeah. So
a
at
lot
some point
a lot of shorter road as well, so it is
Yeah.
a wee bit slower to load and unload.
Okay. And he's loading pulpwood at the moment?
Loading pulp on there, yeah.
So that's 3 metre pulp?
Yeah.
So how old would this machine be?
That machine's 2021 with 8,000 hours.
8,000 hours. So
yeah.
It's what, 2/3, 3/4 of the way through its life with us anyway?
Probably next year it might be going.
Yeah.
Back end of next year we'll change it for a new one.
Yeah, okay. And we've got band tracks front and back.
Band tracks front and back, quite flotation tracks on the back there. Over the other side it does get wet, so that we do have different tracks for the different terrains.
Yeah.
So
whereas on the front, are they more climbing tracks?
More climbing tracks on the front.
Yeah. Okay, so if you can see that on the back, the tracks, there's more aggressive grouses, whereas at the back, the plates are wider, which holds the machine up more
more
effectively.
flotation,
And although this is a dry site, as you say, there'll be
some
wet parts.
wet parts, and
it'll be very unusual for us not to be running on tracks anywhere
all
in
the
Scotland.
time. Yes. We never have a tracks off, to be honest, just to change it. Moving sites possibly, but when we're on site, we've always a tracks.
But we do have to stay off the forest road then, because they're quite aggressive in terms of breaking the road up.
Yeah, we can't go on the forest road. Down, as you'll see down the bottom of the roadside, we've had the digger in and turned the stumps to build a bench along the top to keep the machines off the road.
Yeah. I'll give you the good weather, or did I bring the good weather?
Yeah, we both brought the good weather.
We'll share that. The sun always shines here, of course.
Of course it does. Yeah, when you're out.
Yeah, because I'm so seldom allowed out from behind this. Anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.